Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Happy Tuesday, US election day. Things are going to get crazy, folks. That's exactly what we're seeing here so far. A massive pump, followed by a pretty significant correction and then a recovery too. So Bitcoin does look like it's mostly back on track. We're not going to get too ahead of ourselves yet, but it's following this this pattern here pretty straightforward. In other words, price came up to this resistance range, about 69,100, 69K roughly. Instead of the price pulling back, it just continued to work itself into a nice little wedge here, which we are also seeing here, by the way, and essentially it broke out pretty strong there. Again, that's likely just a short squeeze. Again, yesterday felt very trappy, if that's the right word for it. In other words, when we were down at the bottom here, about 67,000 last I analyzed the charts in the morning, it was like, okay, this doesn't feel right. And then last night absolutely felt like a trap. So I'm glad that everyone held off on taking shorts. While I should have taken a long, hindsight's 2020, I slept through it, truthfully, and there was really no point in taking a long into a resistance. Now that we've broken that, there's a stronger chance we have more upside potential. Okay, so now it's a much better chance than it was before. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but that's essentially what we're looking for. So let's quickly look at the back-end liquidation data and double-check a few things. I want to say thank you so much again for being an awesome part of my life. Deeply appreciate the likes, the follows, the alerts, and what's the last one? Commenting too. That's also pretty cool. Love to hear from my community. Thank you all again so much for the wonderful feedback. Quick congrats too. Just got to throw it out there. We took a pretty solid long position with Dogecoin, 53% up in 22 hours, and that is a 5x leverage trade, folks. Okay, so again, nothing super crazy, just natural, normal trades taken with confirmation. Okay, so Bitcoin. Is there confirmation today? Well, we're going to find out here, but we got a ton of liquidation on the upside here, a lot of shorts entering the market, but there's a good handful of shorts from before too when the price was upwards about 71.6. Okay, now keep in mind, it's kind of weird to see, but the last 7 days have been very tumultuous. I mean, we were in the 71K range 3 or 4 days ago, went all the way down to 67. Now we're back up to 70. Like, what is that? That's some pretty aggressive price action. Again, we're going to see some weird stuff here moving forward, likely in light of the actual election today, but there's a lot of other things too we want to look at. Anyways, the whole point of me showing this to you isn't to continue to ramble. It's more so just kind of give you perspective that there is accumulation of shorts above the price action now starting to form. That helps because that incentivizes the price to keep going up. I know it seems weird, but it's just kind of like momentum, if you will, or benefits for the whales essentially, because they really like to sweep those extra levels. So let's take a look here. We can see the liquidation delta has tapered off. We're down to closer to about 5 billion, maybe even 4 billion at this point. So that's positive, right? But it's still a lot, if you will. So I do think we have more potential for the price to continue higher still as well. But at this point, I would expect the price to maybe slow down a little bit leading into 70,000, because that is, again, a big round number, a key level resistance, so to speak. Even though we blasted straight through that earlier, we're still haven't closed above yet, right? So let's not get too crazy with the longs, but I'm leaning more towards longs versus short at this exact time based on the limited data that I have. Let's talk about a bigger picture here and kind of see it. Well, first of all, let's quickly clarify before we go into the daily. We had this previous resistance at about 69.1, or sorry, let's clarify, 69.1, and that was more of like a support level previously. Then the price action broke below, had some difficulty crossing above it. Now we blasted straight through it. So the likelihood of retesting that low 69K range is quite high. You could argue that we've already done so, but there's a decent chance we might see that again. So not saying you should be patient for that low 69K range, but that would be a solid consideration for long now that we've broken through it, if that comes to pass, right? I don't think we're going to probably see that, though, truthfully, just based on how the momentum is looking right now. But we'll double check a few things here. So back onto the daily time frame. We talked about this yesterday, too, where it was too good to be true to be under the 20-day SMA. Now that we're back up above it, we are back on track. Okay, so in a simple and shorthand version here, we are mostly back on track here with Bitcoin. Now, that can and should be taken with a grain of salt. Just because you're back up over the 20-day SMA doesn't mean you go balls to the wall with longs. However, it's a good confirming factor letting us know that there's a lot of support in this range, and that 67.5 roughly is that key level support for us here that held like a champ. Our local point of control, that whole 9 yards there, we're looking at a pretty solid support range there. Okay, so good news is price comes back down. We know a place in which we may want to be able to consider a long. However, we've broken our descending trend line here. We may not even see that happen. Okay, and let's double check a few other things here as well. We bounced cleanly, well, mostly clean, 51 on the RSI, which generally is favorable, right? Staying above the 50 on the RSI is extremely important. Money flow index is on its way back up, stochastic swinging up, MACD kind of plateauing. These are all very, very positive signs. So for the most part, the macro looks good, right? And Bitcoin yesterday, the macro still looked decent. It's just that we broke below the 20 and we had to be cautious. That's what it boiled down to. I'm glad we did, honestly, because hindsight's 2020. But I mean, even though missed out on some opportunities there, we still played it safe and made sure that we only found the good opportunities, which is, again, a trade with Dogecoin, for example, had a lot of bullish confirming factors, and no other coin had that yesterday. Minus the suspicion that Bitcoin was up to no good, right? Which, if you saw my analysis from last night, I kept mentioning how extremely bearish the charts were, but it's just too good to be true. And it absolutely is. It absolutely was. And while the price action for Bitcoin can drop off a cliff sometimes, there is just way too many shorts in the market. I still think there are too many shorts in the market, and this is that natural corrective behavior. Okay. Anyways, the whole point of me mentioning that is that the 4-hour time frame is starting to transition into a bullish type of situation here. In other words, we're back over the 20-day SMA, which is fantastic. That's kind of the initial trend setter. We're still under the 50, so we got some resistance above us at that $70,000 range. We've known that for a while, being a resistance level for us. You can also recognize here we're back up over 50 on the RSI. We spent a little time under there over the weekend, though, Thursday through Monday, right? It was basically a little 3-day vacation in Beartown, and now we're back above 50 on the RSI, and that's generally positive. I like to see that. Money flow index is increasing with it. A lot of good stuff here on the 4-hour time frame. Nothing really super concerning at all. Things look very good here. Okay, hourly time frame is probably going to reflect a very similar scenario, which it does. We have broken bullish. We can see the lagging spans free and clear, conversion lines over the baseline, and we're in pretty good position here to consider a long. Okay, and again, these are all green lights here. These are all things you want to look for to be able to take along with confidence. Can the price still go down? Absolutely. Will it go down? I wouldn't be surprised. That's just how the market is right now. But the truth is, there's way too many shorts in the market, and I think this natural correction is slowly happening or quickly happening, depending on how you look at it. And we're starting to see more longs into the market. And as that happens, the shorts start to dissipate. So basically, the key takeaway here is that shorts either got squeezed out with that push up to 70,000, 70.5, or they're closing their trades in profit. I'm more so thinking it's the former because people have trouble securing profits, especially with high leverage, and they don't they don't really know what to do. It's like, wait, I've got a 1,000% return. Let's go to 2,000. It's so stupid and ridiculous. But again, folks, when you're shorting, you can never short to the ground. It's inherently more risky. So if you are shorting, keep in mind you should be securing profits more frequently because it's just inherently more risky to take a trade to the downside. It's just all there is to it. Especially with all this election stuff going on here, we're going to see some volatility soon. My anticipation is that we're going to see the price probably continue a little bit higher before it pulls back. I would say 71, 72K makes the most sense, or at the very least 71.7. That's the local resistance that held pretty strong as a support recently. Okay, so we'll talk about that later. Between now and then, be careful taking trades today. I would say just limit your exposure if possible. If you're going to take a trade, along with Bitcoin, seems sensible at this point based on everything we see here so far. Okay, that's just generally what the TA is telling us. I hope that makes sense and I described that correctly. Thank you again so much for watching. I look forward to seeing the next one. I will post a playout chart here on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord here. And don't forget to take advantage of this 60K deposit, progressive prize pool plus deposit rewards. We're already up to 96 million in volume, so I think we're going to hit 500 to unlock that 60K prize pool. Awesome stuff. Anyways, congrats to everybody for that. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Take care.